Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm so excited about my guest today, Razi Berry. She's an amazing, amazing woman. So Razi, I'm going to brag about you, but I want to say hi so everybody knows you're here.
Hi, Tricia. That's very sweet. Thank you. It's great.
Yeah, great to have you here. And for those of you just joining us for the first time at the Heal Your Hunger Show, this is where you come when you're absolutely sick and tired of diets and exercise programs and things that aren't going to get you where you need to go in terms of really healing the underlying causes of why you feel driven to go to the kitchen time and time again, why you're driven to overeat and snack and obsess about foods that are unhealthy for you. And, diets and exercise won't get you where you need to go. When we go deeper, when we have a deeper conversation about the personality traits that drive us to crave foods that aren't healthy for us, when we go deeper in dealing with our self-esteem issues and our visibility issues and things that really do keep us living small and hiding out in food, then we can heal. So if you're here and that rings a bell for you, if that speaks to your heart, welcome. So glad you're here. And you can join us and continue the conversation on Facebook at the Secret Sauce to Ending Emotional Eating Now. So go to Facebook and type in Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating and you will find us. Go ahead and request to join. We're so happy to have you join us, and I have speakers in there all the time, and it's just really great to have that be a part of your support system. So really excited about that. So let's go ahead and jump right in. My guest, Razi Berry, has spent 15 years as a publisher of NDNR, naturopath. It's the Naturopath and International Journal of Naturopathic Medicine. And these are publications, I said that wrong, NDNR, Naturopath, and the International Journal of Naturopathic Medicine. These are publications educating doctors and natural medicine practitioners. And she's been hard at work, publishing more than 2,100 case studies to help practitioners really help people like you and me get to our optimum health. And so what's beautiful about Razi is she noticed patterns in the case studies that help discover reasons why people get sick and how they heal. And she's currently the founder and host of the Love is Medicine Project. And this is an amazing behemoth piece of work, interviewing experts from all around the world about how to heal your body, mind, and heart. So Razi, officially welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. I'm a fan of yours, and I'm so pleased to have you in the Love is Medicine Project. I think it's an exciting journey.
Yeah, it's an amazing, amazing project, and I was absolutely honored to be asked to be a part of it and to contribute my message about overcoming emotional eating and the deeper implications of that. So tell me what drives you. Love is Medicine is that's your really signature message. And it's so beautiful because it takes us out of our heads and into our hearts and into that deeper conversation right away. So talk to me about how you came to that message and why you're so driven by that.
Well, the seed was first planted when I was very, very young. I was 14 years old, and I had an eating disorder, and I obsessed with food, but in a different way. I had anorexia nervosa, but I remember obsessing with it so much that I had a stack of my mother's cookbooks. She was an avid cook and baker under my bed, and I'd go into bed at night after trying to hide my self-starvation from her, and I would just read cookbooks and recipes and look at pictures of food, and I remember just it being a very dark and miserable time.
Can you start over about the cookbooks? My internet connection was lost, and I don't know if that's going to affect. So go back to the cookbooks.
So I had a stack of cookbooks, of my mother's cookbooks. She was an avid cook and baker. So I would take her cooking magazines and cookbooks and I would leave them under my bed. And then at night, after a day of starving myself, I would obsess over the cookbooks, reading the recipes, looking at the pictures, imagining what it would be like to enjoy that food. And it caused a lot of, anxiety, as we know, these behaviors that we have where we try to soothe ourselves in maladaptive ways. So I ended up with going into heart failure because of my eating disorder.
Wow.
So I was in the hospital, Phoenix Children's Hospital, with heart failure, and the priest came in and did last rites.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but then something really amazing happened. I had a spontaneous healing. Some people call it a near-death experience. Some people say, you were healed by God, whatever. It's a mystery, but I did have a beautiful transformative experience and healed. And it planted the seed in my head, like, every other time in my life, my mom would take me to the doctor and they would fix me. This time, there was nothing they could do, and I somehow healed. Now, that transformative experience was an experience of deep, deep, profound love. And so later on in my work as a publisher, I still kept that question, Tricia, of why do we get sick and how do we heal? And at first, when I was publishing cases from doctors all around North America, I would get so excited about the newest herb I would learn about or the latest research. First everybody was talking about, like adrenal and then thyroid, and then it went back to adrenal, and then it's the microbiome. And there's always the new, and the DNA, there's always the new scientific discovery, whether it was a supplement or help, whatever. But I noticed that with all of these technologies and all of these substances that we're still getting really sick, and chronic diseases were still on the rise. So I started looking at other patterns. Now, these cases are all written by licensed naturopathic physicians, and so they do look at the mind, body, spirit, the relationships that you have. Because in naturopathic medicine, instead of just strengthening the body and its systems, what it does is it wants to strengthen your vital force, your inner ability to heal. When you cut yourself, there's a force, if you want to use those words, that brings, those proliferative cells to the area and knits that skin back together. That's what we call the vital force. So in those patterns, I saw that the illness really comes from places of disconnection. For example, my heart failure was because I was so disconnected from myself that I couldn't hear my own real cues of what I was hungry for, or maybe just totally dissociating from that, because you can't be in a place where you're in self-awareness and cut yourself off from nourishment. So I noticed that this happens in so many ways. We disconnect from each other. I mean, when a child is traumatized and later falls into autoimmune disease, that's a disconnection with each other. And then there's disconnections from nature where we don't get enough exercise, we don't get outside enough, we don't sleep right, we don't eat the right types of food that come from the earth. So the Love is Medicine is really about getting back to these three areas of connection. And the science is still amazing, but to bring it down to simpler terms is what Love is Medicine is all about.
That is so beautiful, Razi. I love it. So talk to me about what you feel like is the most powerful way to access that life force, or to have it sort of show itself, if you will, or come to light, or I guess access is the best word.
Yeah, that's a great question. So in modern medicine, starting from like Newtonian physics, right, we decided somehow as a culture that in order to understand how something works, we need to break it down into smaller pieces. And that has kind of led us to this reductionist idea where when you go to a doctor because you have pelvic pain or because you have chest pain or a sore throat, normally the doctor will focus just on those parts, right? Well, the vital force is something that can't really be dissected down. It's better to understand the vital force when you look at the whole system, just like you would look at a whole organ system, right? Or you look at the whole nervous system, or you look at the whole endocrine system, not just your ovaries, not just your thyroid. You want to look at the whole system. The vital force is something that is not really able to be measured. We know that it's what makes plants grow and makes bodies heal, and it helps states of coherence where two people that care about each other, their heart rate variability goes in sync, or there's called brain entrainment, where people's brain waves actually come in sync. So the vital force is just like in science, when we try to see what's the smallest, a cell, and then we look inside a cell, and then we start seeing electrons and protons and bosons. We look deeper and deeper, and we don't really find anything. And that's what the vital force is. It's that energy, that life force, or God, or life. I also say it's a force of love. So when you look at our connections with each other, there's so much research to show that healthy connections with others improves the vital force, improves vitality. It reduces incidence of cardiac arrest, of cancer, of obesity, of depression, of anxiety. And whether it's from childhood or in your work environment, or just maybe if you have like a strained relationship with your neighbors, all of these impact your physiology. So these, what we think of as just something that's a feeling, like a relationship, is actually a physiological entrainment between two systems, your system and mine, and then part of what we are in the greater world. So whether you call that God or nature, we disconnect from that, and there's no exact way to measure it, but guess what? We can all feel it. We can feel when our life force is strong. We can feel when we feel good, when we feel vital, when we feel strong, when we snap back from illness.
Absolutely. And it shows up in so many beautiful ways. I mean, I think people will tell us, wow, you have good energy, or, they know, I hear that a lot, it's energy, and it isn't very easy to define, but I think it shows up as a lightness of being and an outward interest. I mean, when I'm in a funk, right, and I'm introverted, or, sort of thinking about myself, dwelling on a problem, my energy goes down and that connection goes down. And it's just amazing that when it's up, when we're clear and we're connected, how our whole demeanor changes, and people will notice it. Like I think nowadays people are starting to tune into this energy thing. Like, wow, your energy is good. You hear that a lot more. Maybe it's just California or the Western part of the world. I don't, the States, but I hear that a lot. Like people noting people's energy. And I love that. I love that's becoming more of our vernacular.
Yeah, and it's scientific, right? We know that there are action potentials within a cell. That is energy. That's how cells divide. That's how they heal. That's how they, replicate and grow. So this isn't really woo-woo what we're talking about. And what you're talking about when you get inside your head and sort of ruminate over things, that's part of the connection to the self as well. Because when we ruminate or obsess over something and overthink it, we have to look at the deeper message. I call them love letters from your body. Any symptom is a love letter from your body. So if it's an obsession over something, what you're trying to do is solve a problem. When we overthink something, there's a problem that we're trying to solve. And so if you ask it, or ask yourself, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve? Usually it can get you out of that state of rumination. So I'm not saying to never have negative feelings or emotions. Those are letters that your body's sending you, dear Razi, you're feeling envy right now. So please pay attention. What is the envy asking you to do? Is it asking me to live up to my potential, so I'm not measuring myself against someone else? All of these feelings that we try to run away from, and then we fill that pain with food, or with over exercise, or with lack of food, or with drugs or sex or shopping. If we could just get back into it's really our body loving us enough to say, please listen.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And it is, I think what you're bringing up is such an important point about listening and connection with who we are, because there are so many messages that we can hear if we will listen, right? So many ways that we're guided, just naturally guided and protected, and given ideas and inspiration that can take us to the next level of our lives, our relationships, our businesses, whatever. And it's amazing how how much that lives inside of us and not outside of us as we're always looking for it.
Sometimes as busy women, as busy men too, busy parents or busy children of aging parents, we kind of like neglect our own needs, and then we feel guilty. And I say you should never feel guilty for something unless it's hurting someone else. But if it's helping you, and I think that we just start our day in ways that aren't loving. Maybe we didn't get enough sleep, so we wake up exhausted, and then we reach for something in the shower that's full of chemicals, and we're not loving our body enough to take care of it. Maybe we drive through Starbucks and get a sugary caffeine drink to like make up for the fact that we didn't sleep. These seem like just little simple habits or little pleasures that people have. But the question you always have to ask yourself, is this loving to myself? Is this loving to my greater world? The world's not something outside of us, Tricia. It's something we're part of, just like your thyroid gland is part of your body, right? It's all, to me, it's creation to me, but whatever your philosophy is, it's all kind of designed, created, evolved, if you want to say, and there's just no way to separate ourselves from it.
Absolutely. Amen, sister. I'm right there with you. That's beautiful. So, I mean, I think we're already talking about this, but can we talk a little more specifically about intuition and how to really hear that and follow that?
Yeah. So intuition gets two responses from people. They're either really excited and they're like, yes, I'm intuitive, or people think it's like kind of crazy psychic woo-woo. And the truth is intuition is really a physiological process in your body and your mind. And there are many, many ways that we have lost our intuition. I think of it this way: animals have instincts. They know what food, there can be all sorts of food around them, and instinctually in nature, they'll go towards the food that's healthy and good for them. They know where to find shelter during right times of the year. They know how to avoid storms or blizzards. They know when they need to hibernate. In a drought, they can find water. These are all instincts that they have. When you take an animal outside of its natural environment, put it in the zoo, put it in a factory farm, it loses those instincts. It becomes weaker. It has trouble reproducing. It doesn't eat the foods that nature has intended, and they don't live for as long as they do in the wild, and they're not as robust. We kind of do that to ourselves. And so part of the disconnection is losing the strength of our senses. So we all know sight, smell, taste, touch. And those are a really important part of our ways that we perceive the world around us and take in data. We also have these really subtle ways to take in information. And there's been a lot of research on things like dogs knowing when their owner is coming home, people knowing, feeling that they're being looked at or stared at from behind. The average person, this is like from a huge review of studies, can sense something happening from 1 to 10 seconds before it occurs. And this is published in the literature through different types of sensory testing. And so we often ignore these hunches because, one, we've kind of polluted our environment. Like we have this artificial fragrances and flavors that mask scents and pheromones that we get from other people and from animals, and we can't smell and taste the proper nutrients in food because we're kind of adulterating our senses. And then what happens is we're kind of taking in the wrong information. It confuses our bodies. So now we're in this state in our culture where we're looking to gurus and Google for the answer to everything. We're looking at other people to tell us how to live our lives, how to sleep and wake up, how to eat, when to eat, what to eat, when to exercise, what kind of exercise, how to get pregnant. Like all the things that are supposed to just come natural to us as humans, just surviving and creating more humans, like that's supposed to be, sleeping well at night. Those are just kind of the norm, supposed to be the norm. But because we've become so detached, we're actually so confused. And these subtle senses like chemosensing, which is a sense that we have that we can detect these chemicals from the environment, can tell us things like somebody's age, somebody's fertility, someone's intention, even the idea of smelling fear. There's research behind all of these things because we give off chemicals. And we also have these cryptochromes in our eye that can detect magnetic fields. So now, though, we're constantly in electric light all day long, even when it's light outside. That's why right now I don't have any lights on. And before we started, I'm asking you, are the lights okay? Because I prefer not to use artificial light whenever possible. So I'm throwing kind of a lot of things and not going really deep into any one, but we have just data coming to us all the time. And if we get back to nature, get back to our own self-awareness and reconnect with each other, we can start to strengthen these senses again. So we can, when someone gives us a good idea or we read a fantastic book or get excellent advice, we can always filter it through our own self-understanding and decide what about that is right or wrong for me.
So powerful, so powerful. I think especially for emotional eaters, because so often we're so trained to say, you know, to think, oh, give me the diet, give me a diet, or what's the newest diet or whatever, and thinking like, just tell me what to eat and I'll be fine. And it just really, people fall prey to that same instinct, if you will, to just look outside ourselves and not to realize that the answers are within. And I always tell people, we always have a divine physician within us that knows exactly what we need. And no person, no expert, no matter how many degrees they have, can tell you what's right for your body. You know, ultimately they can give suggestions and you can gather information, but we're all unique beings and with unique needs, and we have to tune in and listen to what's really right. So I just love that message. It's so, so important. And that is the goal, I think, in our lifetimes. And the challenge, it is challenging when there's such a bombardment of information out there, you know, it comes through our emails and through, you know, Facebook and every which way, television and everywhere. You know, it's so important. And I think that's why meditation is so powerful. So important to tune in and tap into what's going on inside and trying to listen to that. So such a powerful message. Will you talk a little bit, Razi, about the Love is Medicine project and why that's going to be so helpful for people?
Yeah, so Love is Medicine kind of grew out of just a hobby for me because, you know, my real job is publishing these journals. But I got so excited about the research behind how our relationships affect our health, and these relationships, again, with each other, parents, friends, co-workers, children, our relationship to nature and relationship to the self. So I started really digging into the research, started blogging, and I started podcasting, and I decided to interview a bunch of my favorite people, scientists, doctors, coaches, and really put together a 7-day journey for people to kind of begin that path of self-discovery. People just want to feel good again. You know, they just want to feel good again. And Love is Medicine takes us through 7 days, 1-hour episodes each, where we really explore these ideas and have clear takeaways and actions to bring more love into your life, experience more love. And I don't mean, you know, just romantic love. It's that too, but just love meaning feeling vibrant, feeling happy, connecting, being able to make clear decisions for yourself and for others, and heal.
That's so awesome. It's an incredible project. As I said, it took so much work and so much travel and getting other people to travel. I mean, I was lucky. I only had to go to San Diego, you know, but some people flew in to be.
Yes.
I can imagine all the logistics that went into all this, but I just really thank you for putting all that love into the Love is Medicine project. And there is a link in the show notes. If anybody wants to access that, it is completely free. So check out the show notes for that. And Razi, thank you so much. I have one question to end with, to part with, and that is, what is your deepest hunger?
Oh, my deepest hunger. My deepest hunger is to create a legacy for my daughters and their daughters, where they live a life filled with purpose and love and deep connection. And I hope that as I go on that journey with myself and my daughters, inviting other people to join me, I hope that it has kind of a ripple effect.
Beautiful. And you're taking a lot of action toward that goal. So that is beautiful. Thank you so much, Razi. And everybody, please check out the Love is Medicine project. It is just absolutely incredible, with so many really, really gifted and talented healers and real leaders in the health, really the health and, what do you call it? Sort of, it's more than health. I mean, it goes way beyond. I mean, just really the new thought, the newer new thought.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Relationships, health.
Yeah.
Connection. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much, my dear. Love you so much, and I appreciate you.
Tricia, I'll talk to you soon.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.